Brought to you exclusively by Abu Garcia. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful night. It is my tech person behind me, if you're wondering. We're both wearing sweatshirts because in this part of the country, it is cold as tits. Hope you're having a great night. We got a special show for you tonight, man. If you're watching this one's a live one. It's not pre-recorded, blah, blah, blah. This is live. We got a good one for you tonight. Joining us in just a bit, my good friend, Mr. James Watson, is going to be joining the show. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. This is going to be really good. Also, I'm going to try to be doing some multitasking here, and I will also be monitoring the comments as the show goes on. And guys, feel free to comment. If you have comments for what you hear or suggestions or anything, let it fly. This is Ike Live. This show is brought to you by Abu Garcia. Head over to abugarcia.com. Check out all their new stuff over there. They got some great stuff, including the launch of the brand new Ike Series 3.0 rods and reels, officially out now. Head over to Tackle Warehouse. You can get them there. Get them straight off the Abu site, but really nice combos. Also brought to you by the Ike Foundation. If you're watching this and you're like, man, all this negativity in the sport right now, I want to do something good for the sport. You want to help get kids fishing, head over to the IkeFoundation.org. Lots of great info on there on how to get new kids in the sport of fishing. Last but not least, we got a special one tonight for you. If you've ever dreamed about catching monster smallmouth on Lake Erie, I've got the guy for you. We're not talking about regular smallmouth here. We're talking about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounders regularly, especially this time of the year, guys, not just in the spring and summer. I've got the guy for you, Jeff Hippert. Jeff is not only one of the best guides on the Lake Buffalo portion of Lake Erie, but he's also an old friend of mine. Really great dude. Check out Jeff over on Lake Erie. It's LakeErieTrophyBass.com. Once more, LakeErieTrophyBass.com. 716-864-4243. That's Jeff Hippert, man. He's a good dude. Last but not least, and we're going to get James on here. Got a new beer for you tonight here, guys. And, I've been a big fan of this Neck of the Woods brewing. And this is a Halloween themed brew. And this is a German-style IPA. German-style IPA, just brewed Oktoberfest-style beer. Brewed specially for the 4th of July. The Halloween holidays just ahead of us. So this is called Frank in Stein, Neck of the Woods Brewery. You're going to watch me. This is the first time I've had it, so good beer. Wow. Liking that one a lot. Hope you guys, if you're watching tonight, hope you're having an adult beverage with me, and cheers to you. All right, enough of the small talk. I want to get James on. We're going to catch up. Joining us now on Ike Live, and he's been on many a time, so it's not a newbie to this, but joining us on Ike Live, Mr. James Watson. Yeah, hey, James. What's up?
Ike. Thanks
How you
for
doing?
having me on.
Dude, thanks for being on. You're the best, man. So first of all, I want to say it was terrific seeing you the other week at the Hall of Fame. I was like two or 3 weeks ago or something. It was not long ago, but it's great to see you at that event.
You too. It's great seeing you, and of course seeing Becky. Always a pleasure. You guys are always a great positive force. I know when I'm around you, a positive force in my life because you always got a smile on your face.
It's good. It's good to smile. Becky told me, she taught me a couple things. We've had a great working relationship, great personal relationship. She taught me smiling releases endorphins. So I try to smile a lot. Even when I'm pissed off, I try to smile a lot to get rid of the endorphins. Have you tried that, James?
No, but I should. I generally just wake up pissed off at everything. But I'm just going to start waking up pissed off with a smile on my face.
You got to try it. I mean, I think in certain situations, smiling does work. And then the other one she taught me, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but I do this one also, is happiness starts with the feet. So when you wake up in the morning, you get your shower, you brush your teeth, you should always put on a happy pair of socks. And so that could be, any socks, but like socks with, have you got it with the fishing boat docks? Have you gotten the socks yet? Because,
No.
well, here's a big idea for you.
Dude, thank you. I'm adding that. That will soon be on the fishingboatdocks.com page. Gotta have it.
It should be. It
Big
should
tall
be.
ones. Tall ones.
You need the total apparel lineup.
I love it.
Love it. Speaking of that, I'm going out of order a little bit because I did actually write notes. Now, of course, you remember Brian the Carpenter was producing this show for years, and
yes,
his notes would be very elaborate. My notes aren't as good, but I did have in my notes, dude, you are, and I want to say this in a sincere way, you are killing it with the merch. And here's my thermometer of how I can tell you this. So I see it all over the internet, and that's awesome. But the real, and I think I told you this at Hall of Fame, but the real temperature gauge for me, James, I'm seeing dudes rock it here in the redneck hood of South Jersey. Like I've seen the hats, I've seen stuff up here in New Jersey, and I'm like, that's a good gauge on the success of this merch line. So
that's awesome. Love to hear that. That's good. We've had a really successful merch line, and it's still going pretty strong. Sometimes I'll do something to spark and encourage sales a little bit, and we'll have a little flat period, and then my guy will come out with a new shirt like this one here. He ain't even put it on the website yet. I don't know how many we've got sold, but I'm like, we need to get this dang shirt produced.
It's great. It's great. I love it. I think it's an awesome logo. It's fun. It means different things to different people, I think. But I think it's a great, and I said it jokingly at the very beginning of the show, but it's a strange time in fishing. And so like when I see what you're doing with this, it makes me happy because it's sort of countering all this other shit going on right now. And it does make me smile. It does make me happy,
It's just, there's nothing better than fishing boat docks. And what's fun about fishing boat docks, you can have a pleasant exchange with dock slip owners from time to time. And then you'll get the occasional Karen that tells you cannot fish her boat dock. I have to remind Karen that her boat dock is placed on my great grandpappy's grave 25 foot below. And she doesn't like that.
Yeah, it is another strange element of today's society is, the Karens or the homeowners, public river homeowners that feel like they own everything, 100 feet in front of the dock, the water, the bottom. Give me an estimate, James. How many times a year, because you travel just as much as I do, you fish all over the country just like I do. How many times a year does it happen? And go ahead and stereotype it.
Yeah.
What part of the country does that happen more often than not?
Well, definitely up north more than
so, You're right. You're right.
Whether it's a dock that's just temporarily put in at like Champlain, or temporarily put in at like Cayuga, especially those places, you definitely get blasted out there. Yeah. So, I handle Karens about as well as you do. I give them I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've upset you. I don't mean to cause you any harm. I just merely want to borrow a fish that may live here.
Oh, yeah.
On my way. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. I've said this before, but I've got this YouTube channel. And by the way, shout out to everybody watching and listening. If you're a subscriber, I hit 200,000 today. It's a big moment for me. So thank you guys for supporting that channel. But, James, we do all this amazing content. We do shop videos and we do, man, with these fishing trips, and we've shot them before, James. We've shot Going Ikes together, and I put so much hard work and effort into these amazing content pieces, and they get 10,000, 15, maybe a good one will get 20,000 views. And then you have a Karen incident on the water, dude, it's in the millions.
I know. It's people thrive on these things. I don't understand it. I mean, look at Randy Blockett. You know Randy.
Oh yeah.
It's Randy for years. I've known Randy most of my fishing life. I mean, hell, my dad fished with Randy when he just got out of college and stuff. Randy's now crushing at the age of 60 on the YouTubes. All he does is talk about forward-facing sonar.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I got to find my niche again. I don't know. Maybe just girls in bikinis in my swimming pool.
Hey, there's a market for that. I can assure you. I think some live videos of that would be great as well.
I agree. But yeah, man, fishing world's been. You see, I came in at late in the game. You guys, when I say you guys, I'm talking about the Hackneys and Ish and you guys. I'm not talking about Larry Nixon and Denny's and guys like that. I came in 13 years after you guys have been crushing on it. And when I came in on the scene, I was like, this is where I need to be. This is how I can make a good living. And each year progressively got better with making a living, regardless of how much fish I did or didn't catch. When I say make a living, my living was made by being in the industry, not just catching bass.
Right.
And a lot of guys, Ish got a big role in my career, coaching me. You, of course, coaching me about the business side of things. But man, that ain't even there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it, where it went. I don't know if it's just diluted or what. I don't know.
It's a strange time, and it's hard to put your finger on one thing, and I've had this conversation a lot in the last 12 months. And when you look at the opportunities, when you look at growth, when you look at those things in our sport, it's really in a bad place. It's probably, honestly, I can honestly tell you that with the exception of 2008, which was a big disruption in the fishing industry, it's the worst I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
it's the worst I've ever seen it. And James, I don't know if it's one thing. I think it might be a combination of things, right? Companies are being bought left and right and resold left and right. There's no personal relationships with anybody anymore. It's a conglomerate that owns a conglomerate that bought from a conglomerate. And I think that has a factor. I think everybody wearing jerseys. I think social influencers, have had a factor. I think forward-facing sonar has had. I think there's all these little pieces that have built up over the last few years that have hit this point where it's in a strange place. Yeah. I'm at a loss on how to fix it, though. I wish I had a better answer,
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. But what is fix it mean now? What does fix it mean? Does fix it mean you accept where you are financially and that you accept the fact that you may never get another pay raise and that you have to stay where you're at? Or in normal jobs, you continue to progress in your career,
Right. Yeah. I agree. I couldn't agree more. I'm going to give you two things that I got to let out, and it's live. And here's the nice thing, James. I know you relate to this because I think we're about the same age. I think you're younger than me, but we're about the same age.
Yep.
The older I get, the less I give a shit about telling the truth. And also, I want to stress this. Every Ike Live show now, I have to look at the camera and say this because then if I don't, it gets me in trouble. This is my opinion, everybody. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. James is. I see the comments coming through. Please give us your opinion. I want it. I got two things to say. The one is we recently had a meeting. Bass had a meeting at the last elite event of the year, next to last, which was Lake Champlain. And I so appreciate them for having the meeting and giving us a venue to vet and, talk and all that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But we had, I won't say a name because that would be wrong. We had a senior veteran angler in that meeting stand up and say, guys, stop complaining. You should be happy with the fact that you're just here. Guys, stop raising a stink. You should be happy that you're here fishing. This is your dream. You should be happy that you're here. You shouldn't be mad about fishing for less money now than 10 years ago. You shouldn't be mad for fishing less money in the championship events. You shouldn't be mad that sponsors are going away. Dude, he actually stood up and said that. I choked on my spit. I choked on my own spit. I looked over. John Cruz was next to me. I looked at John Cruz. He was choking on his own spit. No. Is that part of the problem that we accept it?
No. Yes, it is part of the problem once it becomes the norm. And I'm sorry, I looked everywhere for some kind of holding device for my phone, and I couldn't find it. So
that's okay.
I change my arm every once in a while. I said the same thing a couple of years ago after the Cayuga debacle at Major League Fishing, when anglers started being ridiculous about sight fishing and ridiculous about this and that. And finally I stood up and I said, you know what? It's a freaking privilege to be fishing in this league at this level. Now that I do agree with.
Yeah. But
I don't agree with what you're talking about in that we should be fishing for the same money as we did 15 years ago. We should accept just accept the fact that, back in the day you got 5 Mercury motors, 5 for free. And that now you should accept and feel fortunate that you get 2 half off motors.
That's crazy.
I'm like, I'm sorry. You want all this. I was thinking about this today, and this is sort of what you're saying too. How many of us would like to fish full time for a living? I would.
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
But we don't. Look at all the other stuff that we do so that we can make a living that's comfortable enough to have the lifestyle that you and I like. We have pretty nice lifestyles. You can't deny that. Me and you have nice lifestyles, but we got to make a shit pot of money to afford these fucking lifestyles.
Yeah.
And if you take money away from me, I don't like it.
Right.
When I'm doing my fucking job.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that now I'm going to get half of what I used to get. Don't tell me that you're going to move the goalpost on me before the next season starts while I'm now negotiating my next year's contracts. Don't send on a press release saying that you're going to get rid of half the fucking field in the next 2 years while I'm still trying to negotiate next season's contracts.
Yeah.
Could you any harder? Can the leagues make it any harder on us to make a living?
Yeah.
Can you take away live time from me? Can you take away television time? Television's hard. What more can you take away from the platform that you promised us that would be the best, latest and greatest of all things known to mankind? Please tell me what you're going to take away from us this year.
Right.
Because
and that's what it seems like. It's like every year it seems like there's more and more and more of that, and less opportunity on all that other stuff. It
is. Part of the problem, Mike. I'm sorry. I'll jump in here before I forget.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
You know what the biggest problem with that is? Supply and demand. As soon as you and I are gone, there's 400 grade school, high school level kids ready to take your place.
Right.
And it got somehow, I don't know how, I had to do 9 years in the Army trying to figure my life out. But somehow there is an unbelievable amount of young men who have an unlimited supply of moolah.
Yeah.
Where did it all come? How did that happen?
I don't know. There are a lot of those. It seems odd. I do want to bring something up that I saw, and I want to say it was within a few weeks. I'm a big fan of your social pages, James. I follow it all the time, and you made a post, and I'm not going to say it word for word, but when I listened to it, I'm like, this is the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say. And you just mentioned, of course, a lot of people that know you that are watching know you have a military background, but the post was basically, you said one of the major problems, right? There's a lot of problems, but one of the major problems with everything that we're talking about, everything that we've talked about right as to this point, and all this other stuff is leadership. That was your post. You were talking about the leadership and how the military works and what's going on in the leadership of today's tours, right? Yep. And I won't even pinpoint and say one of them. Let's say tours, because I think all of them are guilty of this. But dude, I think you are 100% right. And it was the best post I've heard all year, quite frankly. Talk a little bit more about that, because I think there's people watching right now that think that don't understand what's going on here with the lack of leadership. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, on the Bass Pro Tour, I can speak from that. I fished the FLW Tour for many years, had a couple of run-ins with Bill Taylor, with Kathy about some things. Nothing that a person couldn't work out.
Right.
Nothing that you could sit down and calmly just say, yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. All right, let's move on. Kumbaya. That's not the case on the Bass Pro Tour. There's hidden agendas inside the leadership. And some people say, oh, James, you're just sour grapes. You weren't going to requalify and blah, blah, blah. And I there was a chance I wasn't going to requalify. A damn good chance. I even went on Zaldane's podcast and said, there's probably no way in hell I'd ever qualify for the top 50. I said, but I'm prepared for it. But the biggest thing about that is there's no consistent leadership. There's nobody to follow. There seems to be one and only one leader in that whole pack, and he ain't worth following.
Right.
And nobody wants to follow a piss poor leader into combat and die.
Right.
I've got friends, and I won't name the $1 million tournament winning anglers that I speak of, who say to me, James, I'm just going to have to go down with this ship.
They're stuck.
They're stuck. They are stuck.
Yeah.
They're stuck there, and we just have to ride it out. We just have to ride it out and hope for the best. And I say, I hate that for you. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate you telling me that. I wish that you would jump on my bandwagon a little bit and let the world know how ate up it is in the conflict of interest and the favoritism. You can't show favoritism in leadership. That is the kiss of death.
Right.
That is the person that gets the favoritism from the leadership fratricide will happen. What that means is as soon as he steps off the skid and his boot hits the ground, he gets 2 pops in the back from his battle buddies, and he lays down on the battlefield. Fratricide. You don't want that. That's the worst thing possible. But the leadership is so poor that who wants to follow it?
Right.
I,
It has a trickle down effect for
it
sure.
does. It's the morale, the morale factor. You go to a Bass Pro Tour meeting, and it's like going to a funeral. It seriously. I see the Big Show. Hey, Big Show. Hey, Hammer, what's going on, Hammer? And I'm like, not much, Big Show. How you been? Hammer, just got to sit through this dumbass meeting. Oh, God, whatever. Got to do this. Sorry, Terry. Had to throw Terry under the bus right there.
Yeah.
But, it used to be excited to go and do this.
Yeah.
It's gone because nobody wants to follow this wagon into the damn moat.
Right.
I mean, it's terrible.
Right. Yeah,
So,
it is. It is. And again, you're personally speaking from your experience at MLF, but I think this is a problem with other leagues as well. And it hurts. It hurts. The other one too is favoritism is the kiss of death. The other one is not taking action on problems that breaking the rules and MLF has had those issues and Bass has had some of those as well.
Exactly. I mean, in my situation, it's been going on for months now. In my situation, I went from Sportsman of the Year with FLW to kicked off tour for 2 freaking years, all because what? Because I repeated things that Boyd had said.
Right.
I might have used some colorful language and dropped a few F-bombs here and there and called him out for what I think he is. And it's a used car salesman, a slimy, a snake oil salesman that tries to persuade us guys sitting in that meeting that everything is fine and dandy. Pull the rope in the same direction and you'll see and you'll find out. I pulled in the same direction and he's firing 50% of the field nearly. By pulling the rope in the same direction, I literally tie that son of a bitch to my fucking neck and sling myself off the tallest cliff. That's what he asked me to do. And it's not fair. I want to fish my career, earn the money that I deserve to earn by having a platform that is marketable, that I can I can't think of the word. Monetize. That platform I used to be able to monetize that platform.
Right.
I've caught more bass the last couple of years. I've had better years. I've had some top 10s, and the monetization of the platform has gone away. That's not my fault.
Right.
If leadership would pick a direction to go in and go for it so that the viewers and the people that watch our product start to get conditioned on how it works, things would go better. You don't buy a radio ad and run a radio ad for 1 week and expect your sales to take off. You commit to a radio ad for 6 months to a year. That's when the repetitiveness of marketing starts to kick in.
Right.
But we couldn't do that. And then to sit here and tell us that this league is ran by the anglers and we vote on things, the proof is in the pudding. Mike, you stepped away from the Bass Pro Tour. Ish stepped away. Multiple anglers, Polinick, Christie, who am I missing? Years ago, stepped away from this platform. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but there's a reason you stepped away, because you saw a train wreck maybe ahead of us. I don't know, but the promises weren't that weren't kept there, and couldn't track where we were going to be next year, whether we're going to be 8 ounce, 1 pound, 1.5 pound. Just what how are you going to qualify for the cups? All this stuff is like, he promised all of us that we'd get more time and more marketing than ever before. Even if you was in last place, all 80 anglers would receive substantial amount of media coverage that you would never get even if you were a top 10 angler at Bass. He said that with his own mouth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he said it multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to remember, like, if you're watching this, I think a vast majority of our viewers watching live or will watch or listen to this down the road, I think a vast majority of them remember the split and remember the reason why that happened. And, you know, we did have that hope. I remember it, James. You had it too.
Yeah.
We all had the hope that MLF would be something different, that we would have a real say there, right? I remember it, dude, vividly. The spark of this is our chance. And it didn't happen.
No.
It didn't happen. But let me say this as well, because I want to be fair to where I'm at now. You know, we don't have a say at Bass either.
No.
And I want to say that to be fair. And MPFL anglers don't have a say, right? The body of professional anglers have no say. We're the bottom of the list on the decisions that they make. So this brings up another point. Now, I didn't necessarily see it in a comment, but I did want to bring this up and get your opinion on this, James. That the opposition to what we're saying right now, to what you just said, to what I echoed, the opposition would say, but guys, James and Ike, shut up. These guys are trying to run a successful business. Shut up, James. Shut up, Ike. These guys are trying to run a profitable business. What would you say? I know what I would say, but what would you say to those guys?
You know exactly what I'd say to this. I appreciate the fact that you're trying to run a profitable business, but so is this motherfucker.
That's true. So true.
So am I. So am I. And can we work in conjunction and all make a living together? I'm going to pay you your hefty entry fee. You know, when you got the camera on me, you want me to say something funny as I'm catching a bass, right? Yeah, we like that, James. There ain't a single time a camera production crew doesn't get on with me and says, do your thing. We're looking forward to this. Make us some good TV. I'm doing my job.
Yep.
Please do yours. Do yours. Find another sponsor so that our first place can go to $1 million. Find another sponsor so maybe all of us anglers can receive a paycheck.
Yeah.
Find another one.
Yeah.
Figure out a way. Quit wasting money. You know, one time the Bass Pro Tour had 90 employees.
Wow.
But when you were there was around 90 employees.
Wow. That's crazy.
Doing what?
That's crazy.
Be honest. Tell me what you think. How many times do you come to a Bass Pro Tour event and wonder, what is that person doing over there? And you think to yourself, okay, let's just say he's making really low wage at $40,000 a year. Can you imagine 90 of them?
Wow. That's crazy.
Dude, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Look at the MPFL. Look at Brad Fuller and them guys over there. Small operation, big time tournament. They're getting better and better every year.
Yes, they are.
All right. Brad told me this just the other day. We will never be so big that we don't know what the hell is going on inside of our organization.
Right. And that's good. That's good. A successful business, a strong leader should have that outlook.
That's right. I call him every other week, say, can I come commentate for you, please? He tells me, we don't have the money. And I said, oh, come on, Brad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing, and I've said this before, but I do want to, while we're on this topic, I want to say this, is that I think some of the ownership and some of the leadership of these organizations don't understand the bigger picture, which is it's not just a business, but it's a sport, right? Yeah. Like, you know, it's not like running a chain of gas stations, right? It's not like owning, you know, a beer company, right? It's not as cut and dry as dollars, cents, marketing. There's this whole other element, which is, fan base and athletes and rules. And, it's a sport, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the owners and leadership in these organizations forget that, right?
Yeah.
They forget about it,
There's only about 4 people that get promoted on the Bass Pro Tour. There's 80 anglers, but there's about 4 guys that get 90% of the coverage. So there's four guys, 5 guys that get 90% of the coverage. You'd say I'm off on my stats, so don't go fact check me or anything. But if you really look at it, look at the social media, they're putting all their eggs in a 4 or 5 guys' baskets, and they think that that's going to do them well. That's not how it works. That's not sustainable. It's not. So I'd rather have a little slice of your fan base, a little slice of Andy Morgan's fan base, a little slice, and that equal 1 million, than try to get 500,000 with 2 guys. Right. It just doesn't make sense to me. But you said it. So what's your bugaboo when they say they're trying to make a living? The leagues are trying to make a living. What do you say, Ike?
Well, I think there's a lot of issues going on with all the leagues. And again, I don't ever want to just point at one, but I think there's a lot of issues going on with the leagues. I think taking care of the anglers, taking care of the guys that are engaged in that sport is very, very low on the priority list for the organizations. And that's sad. That's a shame, So I wish we had a bigger voice. I really do. I wish we had a bigger voice that mattered, where, we can be impactful in decisions. Right now, I'll just bring up one, James, that I can give you.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'll give you one that I can give you some facts on that. And I don't think this has been talked about in the podcast yet. So this is great because we like doing this on Ike Live. But there was an email that went out, went out. This was about three weeks ago to the entire body of the bass elites, not including the guys that qualified recently through the last Open, but the existing 105 guys or whatever that number is. And basically, out of the 105 guys, we had, and we asked the question, and this was the question that was posed. Would you like to leave the forward-facing sonar in all the vents? Would you like to totally get rid of it? Or would you like a 50-50, a split of it, to make it fair, split it in half, right? And we had 73 guys out of the 105 respond, I want a 50-50 split between the tournaments.
Yep.
This result was sent to Bass, to upper management at Bass, and, nothing got done, right? Nothing got done. In their mind, in Bass's mind, what they did with the scheduling, what they did with the reduction in number of inches of units, they got rid of the trolling motors on the back power poles. In their mind, that those changes would be enough. In their mind, just we changed the schedule. 4 of them will not be forward facing because look at these tournaments. If you're a real angler and you're listening to what I'm saying, you know that doesn't mean anything.
No.
So it irks me. The thing that irks me is that we said this earlier, is we have no say. And it irks me, that 73 of the guys say, let's do 50-50. Let's listen to the audience here. Let's listen.
All right, rewind just a little bit. Was that survey an angler-driven survey, or is that a survey that Bass sent you?
That was an angler-driven survey that asked the right questions.
Okay.
So, what Bass's response was, we sent a survey back out last year, and it came back a third, and a third. Cool. And because of that, we're just gonna change the locations, and we're gonna reduce it to 1 unit and a limited number of inches. That'll fix the problem. It did nothing. It did nothing. And their survey didn't ask the right questions. So it wasn't an accurate survey. Listen, I love Davey Height. Davey Height's an amazing angler. He'll always be a great angler, a hero of the sport. But he's not a representative of us. We need someone that's one of us representing us, that is a current angler that's not being paid by Bass to represent our wants and needs. And we don't have that. And you guys didn't have that at Bass Pro Tour. No. And, I don't even think NPFL has that. So that's my biggest gripe with the sport right now is we just got no outlet, no real outlet, The
problem with that, it doesn't matter what you or I or 79 out of the 80 or 104 out of the other. There could this is what blows my mind. They could get rid of all of us tomorrow and go to the Bass Opens and bring 105 new guys up, and it wouldn't make a shit to them. They wouldn't care that none of the 105 guys that they brought up have had the following that you've got, or have their pictures on products, or have that long-standing relationship with Flambeau, for example, and have the influence on purchasing and or selling and so on and so forth. They're just going to get 105 new guys that are willing to pay $5,000, $6,000 entry fees, and off to the races they go.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. And it honestly it bleeds into sponsorships nowadays too.
Yeah.
I really think, James, a lot of these companies and I won't we won't pinpoint any of them, but I think they value pro staff a lot less today than they did 2, 4, 6, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to them either.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't matter. Your relationships with your pro staff are very, very important. And like you said, when that big conglomerate grabs hold, is it GSM or GS?
GSM's buying a lot of companies right now.
It just bought Virtus Jewel rods, my rod deal. I had a small rod deal. Valuable to me because I got a lot of small deals that add up to a good living.
Yeah.
Got the phone call from my buddies over there, said, hey, we sold out. I said, all right. I said, well, congratulations. And I'm happy for them because they made a chunk of money.
Right.
That's what they deserved.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm gone.
Right.
So there went some. That happens. We deal with that as anglers. But again, there's 4,000 people ready to take our place. And the minute we step out of the way, we just made a slot available for them. Good luck to them. Good luck, because they're going to find out real quick that when you pay $60,000, $70,000 a year to run the roads, and you had a superstar year and you finished 11th place in all 7 tournaments, and you got a $10,000 check in all 7 of those tournaments, and you're with $70,000, and then you realize you spent $70,101 to do it, that you're already $101 in the hole, and you are fighting for Angler of the Year.
It's crazy.
It used to be a good business to be in, and it can be again. I got to find my niche again. I got to find what it takes to make that money. But the platforms need to be valuable to us. They need to be valuable to us again. And they are getting less valuable and less marketable for us. And I don't understand what it takes for that to come back for us. I don't.
Right. I agree. I agree. I did want to jump back, and the organized anglers has been a topic for a long time. I remember a few attempts at it in my time. Before my time, there were a few attempts at it. Are we the reason that it hasn't happened? Like, I always wonder that. Like, are we to blame for the anglers never getting organized? And I say that, and I want to bring this up too. And this has probably never been told on a live podcast before. And I'm sorry if I throw a couple guys under the bus, because it irks me just a little. So before you answer this question,
okay,
about 8 months ago, I started getting phone calls from some of the top anglers at Bass Pro Tour. Very, very upper echelon, James, like some of the best anglers over there, and some of the nicest guys over there. Like, these are guys that are well liked by everybody. Okay. Mm-hmm. This will really start pinpointing some of these guys. And they got a hold of me and said, hey, can you get a hold of some bass guys? And we had about a dozen bass guys and a dozen Bass Pro Tour guys get on a call and say, guys, let's take the initiative and let's draft something concerning forward-facing sonar. James, I was so excited because I heard 24 full-time touring guys that had a stake in the game saying, who cares what league I fish for? Who cares about my personal agenda? I want to join together as a body of anglers and create something that means something. Well, we had a couple emails go past, a couple phone calls go past, and there was this grand plan to have a meeting at ICAST this year. The meeting never happened. It kind of just got cold. And I find out through the grapevine that the Bass Pro Tour side of those 24 guys, they already knew they were going to get their way. They had went ahead and side lobbied for themselves to get those rules changed. And I was excited that the anglers were getting together. I didn't give a shit what the change was on forward-facing sonar. I was excited to hear 24 guys getting together to cause a change outside of the leagues.
Yep.
And then they got their way and basically just cut the cord. Is that the problem? I think that's the problem, right? We can only blame ourselves.
No, we are the problem. I came in the PAA after it got started after a couple of years. The PAA stood up to be an angler-driven league. All right, and that's the problem. We're all a bunch of prima donnas. We all think that we know what the best way to do it is, and then we'll put our feet down in the mud like we just jumped off the front deck of the boat in the back of a creek, had been silted in for 80 years, and you're knee deep and you can't even fucking suck your foot out of it. That's how stubborn we are as individual anglers. And we are the problem. We are the problem. We can't unionize. All right. You know what a big problem with our inability to unionize is the scare factor. Look at the contracts that we signed to fish Bassmaster Elites. Well, you got yours. Look at the one I signed on the Bass Pro Tour. And you look at this contract, and you don't have to be an attorney to say, ooh, that's kind of sketchy. Ooh, what happens if something like, ooh, what if I said Kathy Fennell had a wig? You know, jokingly, that could get me terminated. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The contracts we sign on to fish the highest level, they do not allow us to really unionize, Mike. It can't, because you can't go against the league in anything that the league feels might be derogatory or defamation towards them in any sort of way, they can arbitrarily just pull out, like they did on me. They arbitrarily pulled out what I said was something bad against the CEO, competitor, judge, jury, and executioner, Boyd Duckett, and said, you violated rule such and such because you said something that was derogatory about the league, the boat officials, other anglers, sponsors. It says that in our contract.
Right.
It says all the things that can protect the league against anything we do as anglers, including unionizing. If we unionized and come together, they could find anywhere in our contract there that we can't do that. And if we did, guess what? Just like that the group that you just spoke about, they sent this letter to the Bass Pro Tour. Crickets. I'm sure they got crickets back from the Bass Pro Tour. You know why? Because Boyd said it on his podcast. I don't know who such and such is. I don't report to such and such. He's not an angler. He's not somebody that's part of the Bass Pro Tour or the staff of the Bass Pro Tour. I don't have to respond to him.
Right.
The Bass Pro, the MLF didn't even respond to my attorney when I sent him a letter. Wouldn't even respond to him.
No response. Crickets.
$1,000 on an attorney. And finally, my attorney goes up, not against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attorneys against Kroenke Group. And Kroenke says, you signed the contract. We will arbitrate this into affinity, which means we'll just run you out of money, James.
Right.
That's what the leagues will do when you unionize.
Right.
They'll just say, we don't need you guys. Even though, Mike, you got a big say at the Lawrence. Lawrence has come to us and said, you're not going to get rid of Mike. Whatever you do, you will not get rid of Mike. All they have to do is pull up the contract that you signed and says, Mike, you said something negative about the league. At one time, you said that you wanted to get a bunch of anglers and change some of our rules, and we don't like that. Therefore, your ass is gone.
Right.
That's the power the league has over us anglers.
Right.
And again, there's 4,000 young men and women vying for our position as we speak. Somewhere there's a high school tournament going on with 500 boats in it.
There is.
Winner will get an elite berth to the 2025 season. I mean, that's the kind of shit that we have to deal with now. All right. The Girls Scout that sells the most cookies got a spot in the Classic this year. All right. How many people go to the Bassmaster Classic nowadays? I mean, it's crazy. It's so diluted. At the Redbreast, the Redbreast itself, you get the tackle warehouse guy gets a carrot dangled in front of him. All-American champion, he gets a berth into the Redbreast. The Toyota Series champion getting the Redbreast. I'm not saying those guys didn't earn it. Does the Redbreast champion get to go fish the All-American?
Right.
To win an extra $1,000 or chance to? Does the Redbreast champion get to go to the Toyota Series championship and fish there because he won the Redbreast? I mean, it's just business. They will dangle the carrot, whatever that carrot may be. They will sell that crack. You and I are the crackheads. We don't give a shit what we got to do. We don't care. If it says we got to run Mercury motors, you'll take the side of your Yamaha and write Mercury on it. It's crazy the things we'll do to go fish these guys' tournaments. I just wish there was somewhere else I would be willing to give my money to, a better organization that spent my money more wisely than them. It's kind of like the fucking government. I sure wish my taxes were better spent. I sure wish MLF wouldn't be $29 million or however bazillion dollars in debt that they might be in. I wish that wasn't the fact. Because if the fact, maybe you and I wouldn't be pissed off that we're only making X amount of dollars when we finish 40th place.
Right. Yeah.
It should be better than now. You've done your job, Mike. You've sold a bazillion bass cap boats with Yamaha motors on them, power poles, and Lorentz graphs. You sold a bazillion of them over your influence and your years of influence. You should be rewarded with that by getting to continue, as long as you're still selling product, continue to get what? A paycheck.
Right.
That's capitalism. I see it that way. I really do. And until I quit doing my job, pay me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you just said, I have not heard it put exactly like that, but I think you're dead on. Dead spot on.
Yeah.
Dead spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate being negative all the time. I've been negative since this time last year. Boyd said at our meeting at Mille Lacs a couple of years ago, and this is really what started my chain reaction to my really just like, you got to be kidding me. I'm a grown man. I like to joke around a bunch, but you don't have to treat me like a 12-year-old, even though I might act like it sometimes. Got in a meeting at Mille Lacs and says to us, guys, I'm sorry, got some bad news. We're getting rid of the tackle warehouse tour. I'm like, oh, well, good, because I don't see the need for the tackle warehouse tour, because I'm going to the boat group and the motor groups and the rod and reel companies, just like those guys are, trying to get it. And his words were, the reason we're getting rid of it is we got to relieve some responsibility from sponsors. Now, I'm just one of 80 anglers sitting in that room listening to this, and not including all the other staff listening. This is Boyd selling it up there with his hands like this. And we got to relieve some responsibility for sponsors. Therefore, we're getting rid of the tackle warehouse tour. But don't be afraid. We've got something that's going to take its place. It's going to be a 3-day tournament instead of a 4. We don't know if it's going to pay 60 or 80 or 100,000. We don't know these things right yet. But the tackle warehouse tour is gone. I raised my hand as a first angler, and I said, Boyd, is Mercury service crew going to be at these tournaments? Oh, yeah, of course, James, they are. Boyd, how is that relieving responsibility from sponsors? Oh, James, we got the high school and the college kids and all these other things are going on too as well. I'm like, wait, you just pivoted, and I didn't need to pivot. I need you to answer my question. How is that relieving responsibility from sponsors by just taking 1 day?
Right.
7 days off the year is relieving responsibility from sponsors.
Right.
How about get rid of that tour so that the anglers out here making a living and fishing for a living on the Bass Pro Tour can really have a spotlight shown on them? We don't need 83 levels to get to us. We just one.
Yep.
One. It boggles my mind that he sat up there and he said that, and anglers looking at themselves, not saying anything. And I'm like, where's your balls? Where are your balls, people? You know what? You had the balls. Cody Meyer had the balls. Dakota Eber had the balls. Jason Christie, you guys had the balls. Brett Hite, you guys had the balls of saying, you know what? Screw this. I'm silently protesting your ass. I'm just going to go back fish somewhere else.
Yeah.
You guys showed true iconic balls by doing what you did. I called Dakota Eber when he made the move from the Bass Pro Tour, which, look, he was golden Boyd on the Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah.
He was the next KVD on the Bass Pro Tour. All right. They give him a lot of love, and he earned it because he caught the shit out of him. And he's good at it, and he's good on camera.
Yeah.
When it called, I called him a few days later, and I said, is this true? You're not coming back? And he said, yep. He says, I just can't. I'm just not comfortable fishing there with a bunch of shady shit that goes on. Now, he didn't say shit, but he said sort of like that.
Right.
And I can't fish mad. And I said, oh, you need to get used to fishing mad. He said, I showed up at Rayburn to pre-fish before off limits. And he said, I saw Boyd Duckett out there pre-fishing, before off limits.
Yeah.
And he says, it just made my blood boil. And it really had a light go on in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, Boyd got on Ike's podcast Halloween last year and said that if any anglers had the problem with him fishing, that he just wouldn't fish.
Right. He did say that.
I just won't fish. Becky, I won't fish. I'll go fish the Tackle Warehouse Tour, the BFLs or something. He says, but I like to have a few weeks off. If Ike Foundation was crumbling and Mike and Becky were struggling to keep the people that rely on them to make a living, why would Boyd Duckett have to have a Bass Pro Tour 7 tournaments, 7 weeks sabbatical to go fish the Bass Pro Tour while the business is sinking?
Right.
While the career is being railroaded into a hole courtesy of a platform that no longer can be monetized? Why is Boyd fucking Duckett fishing in this tournament when he should be in a production trailer and doing what he said on Ike Live, I think Halloween last year, saying if anglers had a problem with it, I just won't fish.
Right.
That started all this too and got me a $10,000 fine because I'd said a week before that, I have a problem with Boyd fishing. I have a problem with the CEO who, if I cut him off, or if he feels like I cut him off, could possibly say in the rules, come down with a fine or tell me this or tell me that, or, maybe not give me my television time like they did at Santee Cooper 2 weeks ago. Knockout round, tied for big fish, caught an 8-15. Berkeley Big Bass of the tournament, a tie. Justin Lucas with 8-15, caught on a Berkeley such and such, and blah, blah, blah. Look at that bug-eyed beauty. And then straight to commercial. Well, the jackass that tied with him was James Watson, who got 0 time because of Boyd's disdain and aggravation against me, who calls him out on his bullshit because other anglers, like my good buddy Fred Robanis, he can't say a word. He does not want to get a fine. Right. He doesn't want to ruffle any feathers or have something like happened to me happen to him. He can't afford that. Right. I'm talking monetarily, but he doesn't want that to happen. All right. These guys are running scared. I guarantee you Daniel Fennell is running scared over at the Bass Pro Tour. Kathy Fennell running scared over at the Bass Pro Tour. They have to run at Randy White at production. I texted him the other day. I said, Randy, did somebody in Major League Fishing tell you to make sure that I didn't get any mentions whatsoever in the knockout round and no mentions whatsoever in the championship round? Of 4 hours of television, my name's not mentioned but one time, and the word James was said one time in 4 hours of TV time, and I was crushing on him. I ended up finishing ninth. He said, I had to look at that. Nobody from up above told us anything. I'd have to go back and ask production why they did that. Well, we all know why, because I love fishing boat docks.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This organization, the Bass Pro Tour, is corrupt. It's corrupt. Jacob Wheeler made $150,000, roughly, he said, a couple of years ago, talking to me while we was fishing Ultimate Match Fishing. Sitting in a fog delay, tells me that, good rod deal. We're trying to think, minimum rod deals, rod and reels or individual deals should be $6,000 to $8,000 a year. And I said, yeah, you do pretty good with your rods and everything, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah, I made about $150,000 last year off my rods. If Jacob Wheeler made $150,000 one year off his series of rods, how much did Boyd make?
Right.
$1 million? Wouldn't that be realistic that Boyd made $1 million off Jacob's series of rods?
Yeah.
So guess who gets peripheral treatment? Guess whose rods get more TV time than anybody else's time? Not just because Jacob Wheeler's the best fisherman on the planet Earth. I give him props for that. And I'm not jealous of that at all. But the conflict of interest is a problem.
Right. It is a problem.
If ever got caught failing a polygraph test or having 2 inconclusive polygraph tests like you did in 2014 at lacrosse in a cup, which I got a $4,000 fine in. If it ever come to light that somebody hurt Boyd's pocketbook or he sold less white rods, that hurts Boyd's bottom line.
Right.
So Boyd's product and his influence in the sport is more ahead of you and I's careers could ever be. That is important to him.
Right.
$1 million is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Man, did I just go on a rampage?
Yeah. It just made me realize something, which is I tend to be pretty critical of all the organizations, but hats off to Chase Anderson for not fishing the elites.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chase. Chase, you're a hell of a fisherman, too. I know you are. From Alabama. If you live in Alabama, you're a hell of a fisherman. Chase, thank you for not fishing the elites.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for not having that influence over the anglers.
Thank you, Chase.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And he has no relatives that fish the tour, so thank you, Chase. That's awesome.
Chase ain't sponsoring anybody, is he?
I don't believe. Now,
Chase, listen, I got room for a deal because I just lost a couple.
Now, under the table Garmin deals over there are a different story. That's a whole nother podcast, guys.
I lost Garmin. Hey, I did not get renewed from Garmin this year.
Yeah, because that money's going somewhere. Going right under that table, James.
Dude.
Let's we got golly, we got so deep here, and I love it. We got 1,257 people watching live. That's a great number.
Is that really?
Thank you guys. Yes, thank you guys for watching. 1,267 watching live right now. We appreciate that so much. A lot of great comments and questions coming through too. But I want to change topics, and I had to ask you this. I wanted to corner you at Hall of Fame, and then I didn't. We both got busy. But how has the house building process been? Because listen, because I want to know what camp you're in. I have a bunch of buddies that have built houses, and they literally said they would rather die from an electric lightning bolt strike directly in the forehead than build a house again. And then I have a whole nother camp of friends. And honestly, James, including me, I put myself in that camp, that it was a fun process. Now, it wasn't without stress, but it was a fun process. Where do you fall in that? Are you want to get struck by lightning, or are you on the other side? Where are you at?
Look, right now, I want to stretch my ding out and hit it with a hammer every morning when I wake up. All right?
Actually strike it with a hammer.
With a hammer, as hard as I can.
Wow.
Right. But trust me, when this is all said and done, a few weeks will roll by, and what am I going to do? I'm going to wake up and say, let's torture myself again. So I'm right in the middle. This has been the most stressful thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah.
All right. Ed just sent me Bass press release saying that Chase Anderson is now exempt from all elite tournaments.
So good.
We got some of the most retarded friends out here in the fishing world. It's so funny. So funny. Sorry. But back to the house. I'm really, really super proud of this house. He got out of hand a little bit, a little difficult getting things done here at the finish line. But I moved in. It's been a 2-year process, but there's some things I learned on this one. The next one I do, and I will do another one. It won't go this hard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, It looks. I've followed along through social media, and it's gorgeous. It looks awesome. I can't wait to visit you out there.
I can't wait to have you. I still got everybody's signature over in the old house. My old house is full-time nightly rental. You stayed in that a few times.
I did. Great
Yep.
house. Yeah.
We got all completely handed over to rentbranson.com, and I rented it I think about 120 days already this year.
Wow.
So awesome. It's doing real well. Hopefully it will pay for my new house right here. That's awesome. My intentions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did want to hit this one because I saw it come through multiple times. And it was basically, it was saying, James, what tour are you fishing in 2025? Or what are you fishing in 2025?
I'm either going to fish a Bass Open of some sort in the MPFL. I'm not sure. One of the two.
One of the two.
Yeah. It really, I want to fish around the house more. I want to get back to having fun and stuff. It's not been fun. Fighting the way I wake up fighting every day. I enjoyed fishing 3 of the opens this year. They were luckily I got in. They got me in. I got to fish the Northerns. I didn't do very well. I caught a lot of fish, but didn't have enough weight. But the MPFL, I love those guys over there. Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to spend $50,000-$60,000 doing it anymore. I just don't.
Right.
The money's not there. The Black Rifle Coffees of the world, the General Tires of the world, they just got out of bass fishing.
The Yetis, they're gone.
They're gone.
Gone.
You know, Garmin didn't renew my contract. That's $14,000 or $15,000 right there. Right. You know, now, can I pick somebody else up? Probably so. Get the product, but I don't want to go out and go in debt. And the whole reason I got into professional bass fishing so late in my life was the financial burden of it. In rolling those proverbial big nuts every time you go out, you're throwing down $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to go do it.
Right.
And if you make a $10,000 check off a $7,000 spend, you made $3,000 for your week. Well, I like the idea of that. There's a lot of other things in this world that I could do to make $3,000 faster. But it's not near as fun as bass fishing.
Right.
So, but yeah, Bass Opens, I like the idea of what the Bass Open is doing. 4 tournaments, make the top 50, fish 3 in the fall. And you know, the fall time's my favorite time to go fishing anyway, because it doesn't take 25 pounds a day to win.
Yeah.
12 to 15, generally anywhere you go in the country will get you a really good paycheck in the fall. Yeah. So I like the idea if I can make it that far, but I'm ready to get back to fishing this year, not fishing as much as I used to. I'm used to fishing. I missed it. It did allow me time to get my house done, which takes a lot of concentration and a lot of effort. But I'm anxious to get back out there. So Bass Opens or the MPFL, one or the other.
Good choices. I think they're both good choices. My vote for one of your future projects, and I've told you this before, because actually, historically, there was a TV opportunity floating out there for both of us at one time. I remember that, but I always told you this, James. You need your own show. Like, I want this show. If I had the money and the wherewithal and the production know-how to do it, I would sign you on the spot. I would have Becky fax that shit to you right now to sign, because I would watch it. I want a James Watson. I want a show. I want some kind of TV show from you. That's my one.
I want to counsel with you and Becky a little bit. Maybe this can happen, and we'll get you a slice in on that deal right there, because I need some guidance. I need guidance. You just can't kick baby bird out the damn tree and expect me to fly on my own. Just can't do that.
Well, you're good on TV, and you make people laugh. You make people happy, and that's what we need. We need more of that right now. We need less of looking at people's ass, looking at their forward facing, and we need more smiles.
I agree. with you 100%. And I would love to do that. Like I said, I got to do something different. This tournament scene's not what it used to be. You just can't monetize it.
Cannot. It's a different world.
Yeah.
James, I want to make sure, got a lot of people. The second biggest question I've seen is they're looking at your shirt. They're looking at your hat. They know the brand. Dude, where can they get it? We got 1,200 people on. They're like, I got to get some of this merch. How can they get this stuff from you?
Fishandboatdocks.com.
What? It's even got a website?
Yeah.
Holy hell, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's nothing big and fabulous, but you'll find some good stuff on there. And my partner, Cody from DeVille Apparel Company in Springfield, Missouri, he moved shops about a month and a half ago. So his shop's been in disarray. So we're going to come up with some good stuff, some new stuff coming out there. But the Fish and Boat Docks really caught on. Some people think it means something else. I've never said what some people think that they think it means. It's always been a fun opportunity to fish boat docks, and it just happened.
It happened, yeah.
It's not Johnson or the Spuds McKenzie days. You know how wild Spuds McKenzie. Man, you had to have a Spuds McKenzie T-shirt back in the day. Remember that, Ike?
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a great time. If I could take a hot tub time machine and go back to an era, it would be that one.
Wouldn't it be awesome? What would you? Okay, you could go back there as a fisherman, knowing what you know now. What one lure would you take with you and kick the living dog shit out of everybody with?
Oh, man, soft stick bait, a.k.a. Senko. Give that to me back then. Dude, you would have Adam. And you wouldn't have to look at forward facing. You just throw it anywhere. They see that hot dog coming down. Coom, everywhere.
Mine would be a plopper.
A plopper. Oh, you would kill him with that.
Wouldn't that be great? Can you just imagine going back there, everybody's throwing a jig and a spinnerbait, and you show up with this turd-looking Cinco thing, and like
a Cinco and a plopper, 2 rods.
That's it. With braided line, blowing their minds.
Oh man, but you got to have the whole gig because you got to be, you have to be dressed to that era too. So we're talking about the neon colors, the jams,
Oh yeah.
All that. It's good. You got to be 80s, 90s, early 90s, mid 80s, Miami Vice era. You got to play the part too,
Best. That was so much fun. I get sad thinking about that. I remember the day I started cussing in front of my dad, talking about jams. We're down on Table Rock Lake, and I had one of them Flowery Jam hats on.
Oh yeah.
Like the 1st of April, and we were just crushing them down here on Smithwick Road, jerk baiting. And we're down here by the dam, and my dad rears back and he hooks me right in the hat with the robe, not just with one treble hook, all 3 just jammed up in my hat.
Oh,
that Flowery Jam hat. My buddy just sent me a picture of jams. And he peels the back of my hat up like this, and he goes, I said, is it bad? He goes, yeah. He said, but I can get it. He said, yeah, and he's working on one, and he goes, rack! He just yanks the whole thing off. All 3 treble hooks still inside, buried in the hat, and like scalped my whole head with that rusty ass, the hooks. What was the bend hook?
Oh yeah, they're Excaliburs.
Excaliburs.
Yes, they were counter rotating trebles. Yeah, and actually the theory of it was really good. I don't know if it worked or not, but I remember, dude. I can listen as you're talking. I can see it all. I see the rogue. I see the hat. I can smell it. I know what the rogue smells like, for crying out loud.
With the burning of the monofilament, the ultra green, 10-pound ultra green monofilament.
Yes, trilene, baby, it's trilene. I smell that shit. I know what it smells like.
The big game.
Oh, take me back. It was so much simpler back then.
Yes. dude, and the rods and the reels and the stuff were so antiquated back here. How did we ever catch a fucking bass?
Oh,
How?
man. I
How?
don't know. I want to go back. Man, listen, a lot of times I tell you, big wigs do watch this show, and they don't admit it, but big wigs watch this show, whether it's the owners of the leagues or Johnny Morris himself has been known to watch this show. We used to crank call Bass Pro Shops all the time. So he started watching. I know he does. Guys, if you're watching this, the big wigs, I know you're watching, start a seniors tour. Bring all this stuff back. 50 years old or older for qualification. No practice. Bring it back. I'll wear my jams. No forward facing. I'll bring my jelly worms and my Smithwicks. I'll bring them all.
Promise. One pistol grip rod. As a minimum, you have to have one pistol grip rod strapped down, rod strap. It has to be the Velcro rod strap.
Oh, yeah.
On the front deck.
And the rod can't be graphite. It's got to be boron.
Boron.
You know.
Dude, remember when the Team Dyer rods come out?
Oh, yeah.
The light and toughs?
Oh, LTs. Man, that was a rod.
Dude, I got like 13 of the telescope and 7.5 foot light and toughs still over. I'm not even going to say where because somebody probably tried to break into my shit.
They would break in. Don't say where. They would break in. Yes.
I've sold a couple of them about a year ago for $750 a piece.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I was with Daiwa for a while. I was buying Daiwa before I had a Daiwa deal, and that was an amazing rod. I remember those days.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's see. Now we're talking. Now we're having fun again.
We're having fun. See, we just got to turn the switch.
That's
just
right.
like that. Just like that.
I still love this sport, even though I want to murder myself sometimes.
I do too. I tell you this. All this shit I guess it was about 2 or 3 months ago. It was really getting to me. And I'm not kidding you. I got my kayak, one of the kayaks I have that has nothing on it. It had a rudimentary Lowrance depth finder. I took that off, left it in the shop. I took the kayak out with nothing, just me and the kayak. And dude, it really did refocus me a little bit. It recentered me and helped me remember that I just like to fish, man. You know, and you can let all this hubbub get in the way. Not that you shouldn't be concerned, because listen, guys that make noise, guys that take a stand, guys that fight for what's right, that's important.
Yeah.
But it is nice to have these conversations. That dream sequence we just had was so good because it makes me remember why I love the sport, you know?
Me too. I do. I miss the good old days, and I think we could get better days ahead. I don't know. You know, you mentioned something too. I have to jump this in there. Johnny Morris listens every time. I believe if Johnny Morris saw the contracts that we signed at the Elites and the Bass Pro Tour, if he actually read those contracts and pretended he was an angler with the business sense and knowledge that he has and the corporate law attorneys that he has on his side, if he just sit back and read those contracts and say, you know what, I'm number 70, I'm number 80 on the Bass Pro Tour guy. I'm one of the 80, and I'm fixing to sign this contract. This is so one-sided against me in my best interest that I don't think I want to sign that.
Right.
How many times have fans of ours, or not fans of ours, even haters of ours, say, you signed a contract, you knew what you was doing. Well, here's if you don't sign the contract, you don't fish.
Right.
You don't fish at the highest level, you can't monetize at the highest level.
Right.
Maybe that's really changing right now. And maybe it doesn't matter if we're fishing the Elites or the Bass Pro Tour anymore.
Right.
So hopefully
things are definitely changing.
Yeah.
James, it was so awesome having you on, dude, and catching up with you. You were on the old Ike Live show the last 4 or 5 times, and that's always just a bunch of drunk guys having at it. But it was awesome. It was so great to really flush some of this stuff out with you one-on-one. I know our fans appreciated it. The comments were so good tonight. Thank you if you're watching and listening. Thank you for watching tonight with us. This is what's going on. This is real. This is James and I aren't making shit up. This is really what's going on. So I appreciate you carving some time out and catching up with me, James. It was awesome.
I said this to you when you reached out to me. I appreciate the time you give me and the platform that you have. And it does allow us to speak to our fans, even fans that don't care for us, that really aren't our fans, will watch this and hope our message gets through. That that whatever that message might be, I don't even know from time to time what my message is. I'm so discombobulated at times, but I appreciate the opportunity and the exposure that your show gives us as anglers, and you can have me on anytime. And as well as if you ever come this way, you got a place.
I appreciate that, James. You're the man. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye, James.
Bye.
All right, guys, there you have it. I already saw a couple comments coming through. Best show, great video. Thank you guys for watching this one. It was so nice to catch up with James Watson. James is a controversial guy, but you got to respect, and I respect that he stands up for what he believes. And I don't think there's enough of that going on in professional fishing. I don't think there's enough of that going on in the world right now. So thank you, James Watson, for coming on the show. Thank you for standing up for what you believe in. It's definitely, people should do more of that. The comments, the questions, keep them coming. I read all these things. I'm going to go back after the show and read everything. If you want new topics, if you want a guest, if you've got ideas of a show that you want to hear, please let me know. Definitely appreciate all the comments. Also want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Abu Garcia, the maker of great rods and reels. Head over to abugarcia.com. Check out some of their great products, including the Abu Garcia Ike Series 3.0 rods and reels, available right now on Tackle Warehouse. Also have a travel rod in that lineup, guys, if you're watching and you like to travel fish. Brought to you by the Ike Foundation. If you want to make an impact, you heard everything tonight. If you want to help make a positive impact on the sport of fishing, go to the IkeFoundation.org. Find out on how to get more kids fishing, and especially how to get kids fishing that have never tried it. Last but not least, the beer tonight. This was Frankenstein Neck of the Woods Brewing. Neck of the Woods also makes the Stay in the Boat Ike. If you're in the tri-state area, go check out that beer and that brewery. It's really good. And then finally, I know if you're dreaming of a world-class smallmouth trip, I've got the guy and the place for you. My buddy Jeff Hippert runs Lake Erie Trophy Bass Service. Head on over there. It's in the Buffalo area. That is the eastern basin of Lake Erie. Some of the best smallmouth fishing in the world. 4 to 6 pounders on a normal basis, guys. Winter, summer, spring, fall. There's not a bad time to fish, unless it's iced up, of course. Go to Lake Erie trophybass.com. Give Jeff a call. He would love to take you out. Guys, thanks for watching the show tonight. God, it was so good. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Keep them coming, guys. Keep all the comments coming. And also give you a little teaser, maybe. Just give you a small teaser. We have a brand new show coming in the next week, and it is going to feature one of the best bass fishermen ever to walk the face of the earth. Any guesses? Any guesses on the comments? Any guesses? Keep those guesses coming. New show coming up to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to Ike Live, and good night. Goodbye.
Do you fish for excitement? Do you fish for passion? Do you fish to get outside? Or do you fish to win? Abu Garcia for life. You know, right now where we're standing, we're in Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is right there. This is the concrete jungle. And, you know, a lot of those kids, as they grow up, they don't fish. It's interesting because they're surrounded by water. You know, the Delaware River, the Schuylkill, ponds, city park lakes. But they don't have the influence to cast, to fish, to have a rod and reel. And that became our focus, you know, is to target kids in what we call non-traditional areas, you know, urban areas, city centers, where the population's high, and let these kids have the experience. You know, it's amazing. I mean, some of the experiences we've had, whether it's Central Park in New York City, here in Camden, other parts of the country, even just casting.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to see it, isn't it?
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And you know, you see these kids have this experience they've never had, and they light up, you know? The big thing, I think, for the Ike Foundation is we're not saying we want all these kids to become professional anglers.
Yeah.
It'd be great if some of them did, but we want them to have that fishing experience because it ties them to so many other positive things. The outdoors, nature, conservation. Ecology, you know, all these amazing things in life that maybe they wouldn't have been exposed to any other way. We're trying to help with that. So it's important. It's important for us.
Yeah.
We're proud of it.
I subscribe to Bass U TV, and so should you.
Great place to learn about anything you want to know about bass fishing.
You get it at Bass U. We got the best of the best.
I'm not just an instructor, I'm a subscriber.
I'm John Cruz, and I am a subscriber.
You can always learn, and watching Bass U is definitely helps with that. It's something that I like to do, and it's definitely something that you need to do.
If I'm still learning, you should be too.
Subscribe to Bass U because you'll learn how to catch a lot more fish.
Ike Live, brought to you exclusively by Abu Garcia.